Greetings to you from wherever you're watching us. Thanks for joining us on the Friday edition of the show. I'm Yemi Adeba. Well, tonight on the show, we talk about the English Premier League, what's happening on the domestic scene, talk about Nigeria Premier Football League. We will also be looking at basketball, talk about Rivers Hoopers and the continental assignment they have. We'll be talking about all of that on the show. We'll also be talking about the WBO World Cruiserweight title showdown that involves a Nigerian-born, a British-born Nigerian. So we'll talk about that as we move on the show. We'll give you a slice of marathon races as well. Something's happening in Enugu. That's the outlook of the show today. It's a two-man show, but my colleague Austin Okonakwan will be is ready now, and of course we will be taking this trip together.
What a great things to you, and of course everyone joining us on the show tonight. Still an action-packed world of sports, and thank God it's Friday, because when it's Friday, we know we're getting into an action-packed weekend of sporting activities. And yes, you're correct, very correct what you said about the WBO Cruiserweight World Title Showdown. All is now set. I teased it on the show last night. We'll give our viewers the full gist tonight on the show. It's good to see Nigerian boxers in the mix. I will be monitoring what's going on in that English Premier League game between Everton and Luton Town. So much to talk about on the show tonight.
All right, let's talk about it on the show. Let me quickly introduce our partner, our guest on the show tonight. Okwemi Akiode joins us now. Okwemi, greetings to you. Thanks for braving the odds to be with us on the show tonight. It's really appreciated.
Yeah, it's good. I'm here, and we're here to talk sports. Now that majority of the leagues across Europe have almost been concluded, the German Bundesliga is done. Tomorrow, if Real Madrid gets to beat Cadiz, the league is also done. So we have the English Premier League that would probably have to go down the wires. Manchester City tomorrow, they host Wolves at the Etihad Stadium, and Arsenal would want to extend their 4-point gap when they play early kickoff, by the way, 12:30 against Bournemouth tomorrow. A lot to look out for this weekend, Yemi.
Well, I love to look out for. All right, in the English Premier League, a game is currently going on. Since we'll be talking boxing immediately after, let me allow Austin do the honors, talk about what's going on in the live game, and lead us into that conversation about the WBO Cruiserweight title fight.
It's Everton 1, Luton Town 1. It was Everton that opened scoring through Calvert-Lewin in the 21st minute from the penalty spot, and then Elijah Adebayo in the 31st minute put the home team back into the conversation. 1-1. The game is on halftime now. I told you last night that Luton Town will fight for survival, because if they beat Everton tonight, then they've bought themselves some good lifeline to stay in the English Premier League. So yes, that one will definitely get us talking when the second half, begins. But at the moment, it's Luton Town 1, Everton 1.
All right. We talk about boxing, and we've been talking about it for a while. Austin has been keeping us posted, and of course, he's at the center of where everything is happening. We're talking about the WBO World Cruiserweight title fight that involves Richard Riakpo. So, a beautiful report has been put together by our man, Austin Okonakwan. Let's allow you to enjoy the report, and of course, when we come back, we'll take some talking points from everything he has put together about that eagerly anticipated fight.
So let's go. That's another fast-rising Nigerian boxer, Ezra Larayenka, giving us a sneak peek of the action to expect on the undercard of the Bilam Smith versus Riakpo Cruiserweight World title fight. The African King will look to extend his perfect professional record when he takes on the surgeon Ben Whittaker.
I'm here to knock him out, and it's going to be great for Nigerian boxing at large. And yeah, it's an amazing opportunity for me, and I'm going to capitalize on it.
So part of the game, but he's got his wish, he's got his opportunity, he's just got to back it up now. I know he's 12-0, he's coming for a fight, but when you step on me, it's different. Niger never carry last. You know what's good, man.
Confident, calm, and ready describes the mood of the challenger, Richard Riakpo.
Good, yeah.
After that quick shout out to his Naija people, he heads to the face-off with a powerful energy. This WBO Cruiserweight belt is up for grabs on June the 15th. Boxing promoter Ben Shalom has an idea of what to expect on that fight night.
I think fireworks. I think Richard Riakpo, I've worked with him now for 2 years, and one thing I've never seen is a guy that can punch as hard as him. At the same time, you've got Chris Smith, who is probably the biggest success story in terms of what we've done with him, taking him on a European level, 6 weeks later fighting Isaac Chamberlain, 4 back-to-back shows in Bournemouth, selling out the stadium, beating Lawrence Okoli to become world champion, and now defends it against the one guy he's lost to.
How much of your Niger power are you taking into that ring on June the 15th?
I bring a lot of Niger power for this one. In fact, my diet has consisted of pounded jam, egusi, amala, starch. Shout out to my Aruba family there. But yeah, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy.
How much respect do you have for Richard Riakpo?
Yeah, I have respect for him. You know, he's especially his story, where he's come from to get up to mandatory challenger for a world title is a good story. As a fighter, he's a very, very solid fighter. But yeah, the respect's there.
It's been 5 years since Chris and Richard squared up. Both boxers told me that fight is insignificant. They're now matured with more experience in the bag. And that's what makes this fight a big one. June the 15th, it will be game on. Austin Okonakwan, Channels Television News, London.
All right, our man, Austin Okonakwan there. Before he yield back to Austin, of course, Okoyemi has been here, has been saying a few things, and I want the viewers to hear it. You're so confident that Richard Riakpo would make what happened 5 years happen again, despite the fact it's coming up against William Slade, the champion.
Yeah, I've followed Richard for a very long time, maybe like 3-4 years now. And I mean, you have to admit, he's been very consistent. 17 fights, unbeaten, 13 knockouts. I mean, you have to put all of that on the line to understand how to project what a fight could go. And besides, irrespective of how they think what happened 5 years ago was done and dusted, it's a mental thing. I've beaten you before, even though both of us are now more mature, we've had more. And if you look at the balance, William Smith lost his last fight in fact, 2 of the fights he had last year were not really good for him. And if you look at Richard's last fight, it was a devastating second-round knockout. And you just have a feeling that he's well prepped up. And then you heard, he said he's bringing the Nigerian spirit into the fight. And I'm just quite positive that he should be able to get it done. But boxing can be very different. He's been talking. He said William Smith should come to the fight with his pillow because he's going to knock him out and crack him like glass. All of those energies are really pushing the fight to the level you want it to be. And I'm really positive that Richard Riakpo will get this one done. It's going to be 2-0, straight up.
All right. Let me go to the man that has the background story, things that were not even detailed in that report, knows everything. Okoyemi is very confident that what happened 5 years ago is going to happen. I don't know. But what's your mind telling you, Austin?
Yeah, before I get into William Smith and Richard Riakpo, let me talk about that interesting undercard, that started this report. Israel, the African king Ayerenka, has got a 12-0 record, 10 by knockouts. He gave me some vibes that I like for a boxer, and it's coming out straight up to say this guy is only known, talking about Ben Whittaker, that is only known for his showboating. So he says he wants to teach him a lesson. Whittaker is 7-0, but has been very impressive and active. Ezra, as I said, is 12-0, 10 by knockouts, comes with a lot of quality, comes with a lot of Naija vibes, Naija spirit. I love it so much. I'm looking forward to that. Before the main fight, you want your undercards to also look interesting. That's why we keep the viewers, glued to their set. That's why we keep the spectators, going as they await the main menu. And this fight is going to be at Selhurst Park, home of Crystal Palace Football Club. So it's a stadium event. You want all of the fight to be up there. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what Ezra, the African king, Ayerenka, will do against Ben, the surgeon, Whitaker. That will be a very interesting fight. Let's get into the main fight now. Chris Billam-Smith versus Richard Riakpo. You see, boxing can be very funny. I spoke to both boxers, and the way they pushed aside what happened 5 years ago, you would think like it wasn't even a proper fight. It was actually a title fight, but Chris Billam-Smith told me, look, Austin, I watched that fight and I couldn't even recognize myself. Tells you that they've grown, more experience in the bag, and that's what makes this tricky. Don't forget, Okpeyemi, there was a very decent Lawrence Okoli that everyone respected in the Cruiserweight division. Chris Billam-Smith floored him 3 times and went on to win the WBO Cruiserweight title. Now, that's what I said to him. I said, look, Nigeria is supporting Richard, and they said they're going to bring the Nigeria power. And he said, I also need to let you know that Lawrence Okoli had got the Nigeria power. But yes, everyone loves what Richard has done with his boxing, 16-0, and he has shown some consistency. Big punching guy, very dedicated. I've been to his training camp about 3 times. I see the work this guy puts into his regime, and I know he really wants this belt. He says his time has come. He's a big fan of Crystal Palace, has a lot of dealings right there in Crystal Palace, and so this is homecoming for Richard Riakpo. Chris Billam-Smith, on the other hand, is a very chilled guy. You heard what Ben Shalom said about him, that this is someone that with a success story, he can actually motivate a lot of boxers coming up because he has fought everyone that has been brought his way. And now he has an opportunity to avenge that loss that happened in July 2019 when he takes on Richard Riakpo on June the 15th. This one will produce a lot of fireworks. I'm looking forward to it. But then again, let the best man win, Yemi.
All right, let the best man win. All right, Austin, let's allow you to take us to Enugu now. That's where we're going. We're beginning to have that culture in marathons, things that is springing up everywhere. And now Enugu State in the news.
I love it, and I think we talked about it. Was it 2 years ago when they started with the Coal City Marathon? And now the state government coming out to say, look, we're going to tick all of the boxes, security, healthcare, top-notch for the 2024 edition of the State Half Marathon. I like this one because they are being intentional about keeping this going. We've seen marathons come in Nigeria, and they're actually showing that, yes, they are here to stay, irrespective of Nigerians winning it or not. And that's what it is. Come out and know what it means to put together sporting events, to keep the people going, to keep the culture going, and of course, doing it according to standard. When we get to listen to the official from the Enugu State government, you can tell that they are deliberate about making this a success. And that's why I want to give a big shout out to other marathons that set the pace in Nigeria for these ones to come in. The Okpekpe International Road Race should not be ignored. Edo State did a good one with that one. The Lagos City Marathon should not be ignored. Lagos State and their private partners did a good one, and that's why states like Enugu, I think to an extent Anambra, we had one in Ijebu-Ode. That's what we're talking about. Let it find a way to get into other parts of Nigeria, and let's see real development, you hear me?
All right, so let's just quickly take some reactions, and we'll come back to talk some more about the half marathon in Enugu State.
Pleased to announce that preparations are in high gear for the half marathon on the 4th of May, 2024. Everything is in place. Health and safety have been taken care of. Security, of course, is paramount. And this marathon is an example of one of those cases where we're having people coming in from all over the country to participate, various teams Various states are fronting teams, have registered teams that will be participating and competing in the half marathon. We have various associations. We have foundations and non-governmental organizations who are sending teams in for this. And these people will all come into Enugu State and spend money here, and these things contribute to our GDP.
That's it. The state government saying security, healthcare, in top gear for the 2024 edition of the half marathon. So, Okweni, your thoughts? Also, reeled out places where marathons spring forth, it's becoming a culture. We've said a lot of things about the health benefits, even if you're just doing it for leisure. But we can make a business of these things. We can make it a culture. The benefits are just there. It's a win-win situation all the time.
Yeah, sport generally it's a win-win situation. We've seen people participate in the London Marathon, in the Boston Marathon, not because they want to win, but they just want to be there. And I think the fact that we are beginning to embrace the culture of other sports in Nigeria is a win for us. We've spent so much time thinking that it's only football that can actually take us to that world stage. Sometimes athletics, depending, maybe sometimes Paralympics and all of that. But I'm really excited about the half marathon, especially coming from a region that had been in the news for maybe not so many good reasons. So this is an opportunity for the Southeast generally, of course, focus on Enugu State, to show what they have to the world. Austin talked about the Lagos City Marathon. Is a ranked marathon in the World Marathon calendar. Athletes come from everywhere in the world, Africa to come participate. There's also the Jebo Day, there's the Okpekpe Marathon. And all of these are literally just shown us that if you don't have to be a footballer before you also make a future for yourself. Even though you look at the balance of it, it looks like the long distance race had always gone to plateau. If it's not Deborah Palm today winning the marathon, it's so. But the most important thing is that it's an avenue for us to develop other sports, for us to show the entire world that, hey, we're not just good in football, we're not just good in track and fields, it's not just about the Tigers or the Tigress. We can also get things done in the area of marathon. We can also get things done in the area of, so many other sports. So for me, like I said, it's a win-win. It's also an opportunity for the Enugu State government to also explore other business opportunities. I'm sure if the government does this, it could attract, private sector involvement, and they could just take it to a whole new level by the next edition. So it's a beautiful one for me.
All right, let's move on from the half marathon to talk about basketball on the continent. In focus is Rivers Hoopers of Nigeria. The coach has been speaking, like I said, in the introduction. Of course, they have a continental assignment. Let's see what they'll be up against. I'll just go across, show that quickly to you before we go on a break. And of course, when we come back, we'll take some reaction. But first, let's just quickly take a look at it in the Sahara Conference, which is where Rivers Hoopers will be contending with some very, very strong teams. On Saturday, May the 4th, that's tomorrow, is Johannes of Senegal will be up against our own Rivers Hoopers. On Sunday, APR of Rwanda will be up against Rivers Hoopers. I'm hoping home support will not work against Rivers Hoopers in that one. US Monastir, the team from Tunisia, will be up against Rivers Hoopers. That's on May the 7th. It's the fourth edition. It's held in Rwanda, fourth consecutive edition to be precise, hoping that Rivers Hoopers will make us proud and do well. We're going to take some reactions from the coach, but that will be after. We're going on a break right about now. When we return from that break, we allow you to listen to the coach. Then we'll come back to talk about what we hope will be a good outing for Rivers Hoopers.
Our preparation has been intense. We've been putting in hard work. Luckily, you are here. You see the type of work that we're putting. So it's been really, really good. We're putting finishing touches to our plans, getting to know our roles, getting to know specifics. We could do a lot better. That's what we're working towards it. But right now, I'm satisfied with what I'm seeing. We'll get better as once we start playing. For now, we're in good shape. Everybody is on top form. Except the bump, of course, that John Wilkins had yesterday. But you can see that he's okay today and he played really good. So we are good to go injury-wise. There's no no complaint whatsoever. We're very, very prepared. We know what they are like. Last year's finalists, they are playing at home. We know it's not going to be an easy task, but we came here to come and compete, and we are going to compete. We are hoping that by the end of that day, we are going to be victorious.
All right, so that's the coach of Rivers, Upas Ogo Odaudu, speaking his mind. He's talking about he expects a tough game against last year's runners-up US AS Douanes, and of course against the home team. We're talking about that. We're hoping it won't be a factor. Let me expose you to the world of Koyemi. When we're off camera, he said I shouldn't say home support wouldn't be a factor, that it is going to be a factor.
It is going to be a factor. And whatever we get out of this is just probably a testimony to the fact that we've not managed the basketball league in Nigeria well. And sometimes you look at the
we have
past...
our champions who have been inactive.
Yes, you look at the past Minister of Sport and then you look at the division within the management of the basketball league and the management of the national teams, and the fact that the former minister couldn't unite them.
There was a thorough disconnect.
It was absolute disconnect. Imagine when we had the Tigers having to travel and then they couldn't even secure hotels for them. They were literally just sleeping around. And I think for me, for Rivers Hoopers, it's an opportunity for them to show that I like the fact that they arrived early, as against the tradition of the 11th hour, then squeezing them in short trips via flight and all of that. Exactly. Against AS Douanes, it's going to be tough. AS Douanes lost the finals last year, and then they will certainly want to prove that there are no kids in this game. And they've got a couple of players in the Senegalese national team as well, so they've got that experience to play at the big stage. For Rivers Hoopers, it depends on how they start. If they're able to get a comfortable result
first,
against
APR
Douanes
next.
I'm not saying they can't beat APR of Rwanda, but you'd expect that the entire arena would be in support of the home team. And it's basketball, unlike football, where you could have moment of brilliance and all of that. But I'm really wishing Rivers Hoopers well, and I really hope they go far. Whatever it is we get out of this one, Yemi, I think it's high time we'll come back and really get intentional about fixing basketball in this country. We've got tremendous potentials. I've been privileged to watch some domestic basketball in this country, and I'll tell you for a fact that if you look at some of this, the arena, if you look at where they play, there's nothing to write home about, and these guys still put everything on the line to get good results.
Investment is needed.
Absolutely. And I'm not sure the government can give that level of investment. It's basically just making it attractive to the private sector, to open it up, bring them on board, let them see what they have to gain. If they get to support that, the whole support shouldn't be for the Super Eagles alone. Spread it across other sports. Let them see the potential, sell these players to the world, and let's just get things going here.
I'll let Austin in on this and take the backseat, but my fear is that what you would just describe as a problem in basketball is what is happening across sports. There's always the fear somehow for those who are in charge to allow other ideas in, other people in. And look, things could get better if you allow people with their investment, with their ideas. It doesn't reduce you in any way.
A lot of these people in charge are just thinking for themselves. They're just thinking, hey, what would I do if I leave office? I don't care who takes over. So there's no continuity plan. There's no consistency in the idea.
There's even no plan. It's just stay in power.
Is it not what you have that you can continue?
Let me yield to Austin, but I could, word for word, I could pick out what Austin is going to say. If you play back the clips of this show 3, 4, 5 years ago, you probably see the same thing that is said, but it's really sad that we're having to say this all over.
That's why I'm wondering. I was saying, what does Yemi want from me? Does he just want me to cry on live TV talking about basketball in Nigeria? Because it's tiring, and it's rubbing off on club basketball because everything rises and falls on leadership, And so when the people at the helm of affairs for basketball in Nigeria just don't care, and there is no purpose, there's no zeal, there's no will to change anything. So it's going to be same old same. For instance, this is Rivers Hoopers, 5-time champions of the Nigerian Basketball League. We want to be talking about them with some level of respect. Not disrespect, though, but what are they going to do against Monastar, former BAO champions? What are they going to do against AS Douanes? that reached the finals of the last edition. Even the Rwandan club, they've been very, very busy. You know what Rwanda have been doing as regards basketball. For them, it wasn't even just going to play basketball in the courts. It's about infrastructure. They're building fantastic arenas where we're hosting basketball events. And that's 360 degrees branding, because it's just going to touch every level that you want it to touch as regards basketball in that country. You know, President Paul Kagame took it personal. You see, I always say that until we make sports a presidential business in Nigeria, where the president is on his feet, knows everything that is happening, that when the ministry comes to brief him, everybody knows that they need to be on point because the presidency knows what's going on. We will continue to struggle with sports in Nigeria. I've said it before, I'm saying it again. If you don't change the people that you have in the system, that's what it is. See Rivers State government, for instance. If you go to them, the priority will be Rivers United. Why? First thing first, because it's football. Why again? Because they think, that's their belief, that football is what can bring money. But this is basketball that is so big in Nigeria. And now Rivers Hoopers, they've shown the consistency. They've shown us that they've got talent. I've been listening to their players getting ready and talking about their chances at the bar. Listen to Coach Odaudu all the time. He's talking about works that they are doing, you know, to stay relevant. But you can tell that they are lacking that extra push, that extra attention, that support that will just make them stand against these top teams in Africa, teams from Angola and North Africa, and do something. It's good that they will compete at the bar. Players will get busy, because if not for this bar, what opportunity will we get to talk about Rivers Hoopers? That's how sad the story is. Just wish them all the best. It's good to see Nigerian teams go out there to compete. I like Rivers Hoopers. I pray that they give us some exciting story to talk about. But remember, Yemi, I think it was when the last Minister of Sports stopped basketball from competing at international events that the D Tigers missed out of going to the World Cup that they qualified for. I told you from that day, I have zero expectations as regards anything basketball in Nigeria. Zero. Unless people come back and say, let's scatter everything and start again. And it begins with the leadership. They need to go, bring people who are purpose-driven, who understand long-term planning, who's got proper passion for basketball in Nigeria, and then let's start a conversation again.
All right. Let's not just do that with basketball. Let's do that across board. That's what we need in Nigeria. Let's move on now and talk football. Let's talk about the President Cup, as it's known as now, the Federation Cup. Let's look at the round of 32 matches. I'll just quickly go across and we'll look at those matches. I'll allow the guys to talk about what's going to happen. We're now seeing proper fixture. Well, no disrespect, we're seeing fixtures that have top flight teams going against themselves. A lot of that in this round of 32. So you have Better Insurance up against Wikis already, Aqua United up against Samfara United Feeders, Lobby Stars up against Shooting Stars, Abia Warriors up against Sporting Supreme. These are round of 32 fixtures. The men's round, Gombe United up against Al Kanemi Warriors, Mola International up against Inter Lagos, Plateau United up against Sunshine Stars. You have FC1 Rocket up against the Aba Elephants themselves, Eyimba FC. So interesting fixtures in the round of 32. Doma United up against Kano Pillars, Ikorodu City up against Coal City, Warri Wolves to take on Kwara United. Rivers United will be up against Niger Tornadoes. These are very, very interesting fixtures. Let's see if we have some more of this. But as you can see, it's going to get really tough at this level. And I don't know if Okwemi has any one of this that jumps at him, but you know, it's really very unpredictable. And that's the nature of this competition. You just can't say what's going to happen.
Yes, there are quite a lot of Premier League matchups in this one. But of course, you have to pay attention to Doma United and Kano Pillars. It's more like a derby for them. And then, this season, both of them have been on each other's neck. For Rivers United also and Niger Tornadoes, is another opportunity for them to still see what they can end the season with. But more importantly for me, remember, there are quite a lot of teams that don't even show much interest in the cup. Plateau United had a walkover over Ekiti United for them to get to this next round of the competition because Ekiti United failed to show up in Jos to honor their own commitment. But essentially, I think the Premier League matchups would really give you a lot to be excited about. Ikorodu City is also doing some amazing job when it comes to grassroots football development. They are taking it to a whole new level, and they play against Coal City. So, but I'm looking forward to the Doma United Kano Pillars. I'm also looking forward to the Rivers United versus Niger Tornado. Is all I almost said Premier League matchups, but there are certainly big games to look out for, Yemi.
All right, let me you to Austin quickly. Any of these fixtures, like I said, the ones that have the top flight, I mean, just got to, look like what's happening in the Premier League.
Yeah, and this is our version of the FA Cup, and I call it the upset cup. But Aqua United, behave yourself against Zamfara United feeders, because I don't want to come here and start talking about upset. But I see some interesting lineup between MPFL teams. Lobby Stars, Shooting Stars. Yes, that's a very big fixture. Should get us talking in the round of 32. Plateau United versus Sunshine Stars should also get us talking. Abia Warriors or Sporting Supreme. Now, some of the places where we can see upset, but I don't see it with Aqua United and Zamfara United. What can Sporting Supreme do against Abia Warriors? Warri Wolves. Yeah, that's a traditional MPFL team, but for suffering relegation and poor management in recent times, they are playing in the NNL, but they can actually get us talking when they take on Kwara United. There, anything can really happen. So it's the Federation Cup. We love it. I love when there are upsetting results for us to come talk about. But let's wait to see. This is just round of 32. But the MPFL fixtures should definitely get us talking.
All right. Unfortunately, because of time, we'll probably have to take that some other time. Let's go to your end now, Austin, and talk about the English Premier League. We're pressed for time, but let's do this quickly. It's hotting up in the English Premier League. Okwayemi says we might have to wait till the last day before we know who's going to win the league. Let's look at the fixtures now. Arsenal will take on Burnley. Bournemouth, I beg your pardon, early kickoff tomorrow. Brentford up against Fulham, Burnley up against Newcastle, Sheffield United will take on Nottingham Forest. Manchester City will be up against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Will Manchester City slip up in that one? We'll wait to see. They're playing at home. Very difficult for that to happen. Brighton will take on Aston Villa. Chelsea will take on West Ham United. Liverpool will take on Tottenham. Interesting fixtures in that one. Austin, Pep Guardiola has been talking. Beared his mind on a whole lot. Your thoughts on City and Arsenal? And of course, I'm very sure you'll make us listen to the Manchester City manager.
Yeah, for Arsenal, they need to keep it going. This is a big test also. They've struggled against Bournemouth, I think 2-3 seasons ago. But this season, they've shown that they can actually take out teams when they want to, particularly the way they took out Brighton. Now, let's see what they can do against Bournemouth. I really want this title fight to go down the wire. Nobody should lose breath now. Everybody that says they want to compete for the league title should keep it going so we get to see some. So Mikel Arteta said he loves the mental strength in his Arsenal team. He loves that everyone understands the mission. So against Bournemouth, it shouldn't be much of a worry. But then again, fans have been listening to back in England. They're saying this is the same confidence they had against Aston Villa. Remember, it ended 2-0 right there at the Emirates, that the Gunners should see this one as one that they really need to win to put pressure on City. And it's early kickoff for the Gunners, so no excuses. For Manchester City, they've shown us time and time again, Yemi, that they've got the quality to, get the job done. Pep Guardiola can come and try and be as decent as he wants to be and show respect to his team, but I don't see any problem against Wolverhampton Wanderers. No disrespect to Wolves. This is the Etihad Stadium. This is business end of the Premier League. Pep Guardiola wants to win this again. They want to make records. But Wolverhampton Wanderers, time and time again, have also shown that they can be a potential banana skin to teams that are underrate them. They're 11th on the log, and I'm sure they want to consolidate on that, try and see if they can pick a point or even win, and see how they can finish in the top 10 this season. Same thing with the Gunners. If you look at Bournemouth on the league, and the top 10, they're actually 10th on the log, makes it a very tricky one for both Arsenal and Manchester City. With what we saw against Nottingham Forest in their last game, if they turn up that same way, which I think is impossible at the Emirates, at the Etihad Stadium, but if they play that same way, then Wolves can actually punish them. Let's listen to Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola talking about this one that we're expecting against Wolverhampton Wanderers.
I would love, but I don't know. I don't have an answer to this question. I would love to think yes, but we have to prove it tomorrow against Wolves and the next games. We know that we have to win. We have to do all 12 points. Otherwise, it will be difficult because Arsenal is so strong, so consistent. It's difficult going to drop points. But what I said is, it depends on us. So it's simple, one game, one more week, and after the last week of the season, before the FA Cup final, 3 games in a week, once in a time to win the games. It's not more complicated to analyze. I would like to say, yeah, like we have done in the past, it's going to happen this season. Nobody knows it.
That's it, Pep Guardiola, yeah. He doesn't know, and I totally agree with him. When people go, oh, can your team go all the way, win all games? Let me just come on now and say, I said it in a group where I belong that they might lose against Tottenham. They might lose against Tottenham because people are quick to say now that, oh, Tottenham doesn't stand a chance. It just takes 2 draws from Aston Villa, maybe 1 defeat, and Tottenham is back in the top 4. So that game against Tottenham is a very tricky one. But what do you think, okay? I mean, this is Pep Guardiola and Manchester City that when they're in front, they don't look back.
It's quite unfortunate that Tottenham Hotspur failed to win their game against Chelsea yesterday. If they had done that, they will have just been 4 points adrift of Aston Villa, and they will still have a game in hand. But if you look at the run of games for Tottenham, they played Arsenal, they lost. They played Chelsea, they played Liverpool again this weekend, and it's not looking good for Mauricio Pochettino. I know they want to get back into it, but the question is this. I was watching an interview from Paul Robinson, Tottenham Hotspur's former goalkeeper, and he said they would rather prefer to finish 17th on the table than beat Man City and hand the title over to Arsenal. That's the level of the rivalry that they have. But, hey, it's Manchester City. No disrespect to what Arsenal is doing. I mean, Arteta has done a yeoman's job with that club. He's moved them from 8th position to 5th position, competed for the league. In fact, they were top of the log for over 200 days last season. Now they're into it. Maybe they'll look at the game against Aston Villa, or perhaps they had the return leg of the Bayern Champions League game in their minds. They'll look at the game against Aston Villa and say, we had no business losing that game, because if they had maintain that momentum of not losing a game in 2024, they will have been 4 points ahead of Manchester City right now. It's Man City. They look at the next couple of games. They feel like this is no longer a marathon, it's a sprint. We can get this done. If Arsenal wins against Bournemouth, early kickoff tomorrow, 12:30, the pressure bounces back on Man City against a Wolves that could be a bit unpredictable. But remember, Wolves took point off Man City at the early stage this season when they went to Wolves' home. And Man City have not lost at the Etihad Stadium since 2022. So, I mean, it's a game that looks all set for Pep Guardiola. Right. And you just have a feeling that if Arsenal wins and Man City drops points, then Tottenham can just feel like, you know what, let's just get it all crushed up. Because Man City will still go to the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
All right. Well, when we talked about pressure, let's talk about a team that says the pressure is off. Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp he's told everybody he's leaving, and he said, look, there has to be a crisis, a disaster happen to Arsenal and City for them to win. So with that, the pressure is off. They're just going to enjoy the game. Let's listen to Jurgen Klopp sharing his thoughts ahead of the clash with Tottenham Hotspur.
That's how the perspective can change during the season, because for a while we obviously looked like we can go all the way, or at least stay in the race for longer, which was definitely possible. for different reasons. That didn't work out, but it's still, that's not true now, but probably third place in the league. It's behind two teams who do really well, and they go all the way. So that's how it looks right now. I know mathematically there's still a chance, but not even you probably are in the moment. Or if you expect me to say, oh, it's not over yet. It is not over yet. I know that, but it looks like, so we should just. The pressure is off now. That's done. We should really. That would be really cool if we could play our really good football again. That would be absolutely nice, because obviously we were very tense in the last weeks. We had a super intensive period as well. So these Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday didn't work out for us now too well after a long season. But how is that? Going back to the start of the season, nobody knew, and everybody knew how important it would be to qualify for the Champions League again. That's what we did, and that's super important for the future of the club, and I'm really happy about that.
All right, Jurgen Klopp looking relieved. I don't know, it's just like, look, whatever is going to happen, let it happen. Just 3 games, I'll go take my rest. Unfortunately, we don't really have much time. You still believe that announcement, the timing of the announcement, wasn't good enough. But look, you have to accept what Jurgen Klopp is saying. Look, it's not in our hands. The pressure is off. Mathematically, it's not over, but I have to be realistic. It's over.
Club looks disconnected. I mean, the old drama at the 2-0 against West Ham between himself and Mohamed Salah just sums up Liverpool's season. And it's happening even in the Chelsea female team. MIA is also, they lost the Conti Cup to Arsenal.
From potential 4 to almost nothing.
They lost the Champions League to Barcelona. Now they lost 4-3 to Liverpool female day before yesterday, on Wednesday. And it's just like Man City wins their next game, Aston draws, and that's the end of it. Announce you're leaving. Maybe that was why Xabi Alonso did not accept the Liverpool offer. He probably would have derailed Bayer Leverkusen's season. I think that was a smart move. It's not like it's rocket science, but we're saying it's happening with Klopp, happening also with MIAs.
All right. I guess that's a good place to leave it. Austin, we got to go. We'll see what happens in the weekend with the Premier League matches.
Yeah, well, we will. I'll definitely be back next week to talk about it. We're still monitoring that game between Luton Town and Everton. It is still 1-1, but a key moment in the game in the 77th minute, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. You remember he gave Everton the goal from the spot. Clear header, strong one, but goalkeeper Thomas Kaminski was in the right place at the right time and pulled up a beautiful save to ensure that it stays 1-1. That's the show. In London, I'm Austin O'Conakman. In everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.
All right, that's the show. But before I go, I want to thank Okwemi Akiode for his time on the show today.
Thank you, Yemi. Thank you for having me.
All right, that's how the cookie crumbles. Tonight is the end of the show's last one for the week. You'll see us again next week. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.